With an international break on the horizon and having taken 2 points from the last 2 games, including a well-earned clean sheet against West Bromwich Albion, Wednesday travelled down to play Southampton. Henrik Pedersen rung the changes. Well, he didn't ring the changes. There's no changes he can ring really easily, but he did make a couple of adjustments, shall we say, to the starting lineup. Wednesday continued with Halvarth in goal, a back three of Palmer, Iorfa and Lowe. The 2 wing-backs were Fuzier and Hamas. Midfield, Valerie and Bannon. Ingleson moving back over from the right towards the left-hand side, as Charlie McNeil came in for Jamal Lowe, and a change up front with Cadamartri coming in for Ugbo. Now listen, I'm sure the manager would have liked to have made more changes and give people a rest, but within the situation that we're in, the change up front I think had to come. We all know Ugbo's been having a tough time of it, and especially in a tricky game against a team like Southampton today, you need somebody up there with a bit more of a physical edge, which we know Cadamartri's got, so understandable changes. Now Southampton aren't having a great time of it themselves, but it's still a team brimming with quality for this level of football. And like every team we've played in the last couple of months, you know, West Brom included and Norwich, they've all tried to get that quick start against Wednesday. And they nearly had it today after about 30 seconds, you know, ball down the right hand side, cross into the box, bit of a mix-up, it bounces and fools the keeper. Hits Fizier's chest, but fortunately the lad was sharp enough to get back in there and hack it off the line. But it was a sign of things to come. They really came at us. And as I said, they've got some quality. They might not be playing the very best, but they've got quality for this level of football. It's a dream start for them anyway. You know, 8 minutes in, they take the lead. I think it's called Cienza drifts in off the left-hand side. He gets a clip sort of shot cross into the box. Wednesday managed to block it, then the clearance, Palmer tries to clear it away, it's their lad. Jan, it goes up in the air, completely wrong foot's our keeper, you know, he's taken a massive deflection off their lad, he manages to get an hand to it. Can he put it over bar? I don't know, it all happens very quickly, big deflection. And then he can't claw out the sort of second ball as it makes its way towards the line. Without that sort of in-ball technology, you know, 10 years back, that's not it. But there we go. It's a nightmare start for Wednesday. And for the first, you know, you've got to be honest, for the first 15 minutes or so, they're all over us. They're all over us like a cheap suit. And there were some tired legs out there for Wednesday. And as I've said, Southampton's not having the best time of it. But they've just come down from Premier League. And whilst they've not had the best start of it, they've got some real quality players, you know. The lad whose name has gone down for the first goal via that massive deflection, you know what I mean? He's a £10.5 million player. Our first 11's probably not worth £10.5 million. Do you know what I mean? That's the levels. Wednesday have a, you know, for all they're all over us, Wednesday have a couple of little breaks, you know, nothing clear cut, but maybe about 15-minute mark, there's Ingleson makes a powerful burst up sort of inside left channel, which we've come to expect from him. You know, he's a really strong runner with the ball. He whips across in and McNeil chucks himself at that, the far stick, can't quite get an end of it. And then there was a little move, I think it was Ingleson involved in build-up again, gets out to Bannon on left hand side. He fizzes one in and Cadamartri glances an header just wide, which is what he's in there for. You know, we talked about it the last game, Norwich City, missing that little bit of a physical presence up front, and someone will get their head in there, not scared of getting bashed about. So a couple of little sniffs there. And then the second goal kills us really. 16 minutes, just after that attack actually. And it's that Hazard. We know all about him from when he was at Plymouth. He causes problems down there in 3rd Division. You know, he's gone and done it at Middlesbrough. And again, you're talking about another player who on his own costs more than our squad. He's driven up there. It's a little one too. It's a lovely finish across goal. Again, people will be pointing finger at goalkeeper. But it's a simple 1-2, and he's got in box, and he's had time to get his head up and pick his spot really. So I'm not going to blame the goalkeeper too much there. And again, I've seen probably 1 or 2 people pointing finger. Can Max Lowe react quicker to sort of little throw ball? He's played every game so far. He's done 90 minutes in every game, and there's always going to be little moments in games where, if he does drop off there, and ball, folks are probably like, oh, he's played him onside. There's all these little things. So we're 2-0 down. They look in complete control. And genuinely at that stage, you are worrying a little bit, this could be a cricket score. This could be a cricket score. And the fact that it wasn't a cricket score is down to the efforts of them Wednesday players. So it's a 3-1 defeat, but I'm not going to slag him. I'm not, honestly. So it's 20 minutes in, we're 2-0 down, and Wednesday's in that tricky situation then, where it's vital you don't concede that third goal before half-time. You've got to have something to cling to. Equally, you want to try and get back in the game because, things look very different at 2-1. And it's trying to find that balance between attack and defence. And, of course, with Southampton's quality on the ball and the way they were moving about, the 2 wide players were causing us heaps of problems. It's that fine balance because they were prepared then to say, well, okay, this is 20 minutes before break, come and have a bit of a go at us and we'll try and pick you off. And there were a few opportunities like that when Wednesday were not attacking, they tried to spin us and get in behind. So fine lines and a delicate balance needed. 25 minutes in, Wednesday do get that lifeline. It's from Amas, who was quickly becoming a crowd favourite at Hillsborough. It's brilliant that Man United have helped us out there. 2 traditional Old English clubs with great history, and they've done us a massive favour letting us have him on loan and paying all of his wages while he's here and all his expenses and everything else. And the benefit they're getting from it is the lad's getting Championship football week in, week out. He's really growing. He sort of wins the ball in central midfield, really low centre of gravity, twists and turns, gets himself to edge of box, cracks a left foot shot into bottom corner. And from a game where we look completely dead embedded, as I said, there's that little glimmer then, that little bit of a lifeline going into half time. Couple more chances just before break. I get their keeper, who we also remember from 3rd Division days. He made a really good save. There was a crossed out from left hand side. McNeil's coming on back stick, caught that on a decent volley, and Bazzuno, keeper, easy palmed that one off the bar. That was a good save. And then at the other end, Armstrong's reeled his way in. He's smashed a shot in there. Alvarth's made the save. He is a decent shot stopper. I know he don't catch stuff. It's a bit frustrating, but he's a decent shot stopper. And Fizier, alive to the danger, and hacks that one away. So we're getting 2-1 down, and a frantic half. You've got your heart in your mouth because they got some real quality, and they were getting in box at every opportunity. They've got a fluidity with their attacking front three, and I was pleased. Genuinely, I was pleased that we got in at 2-1 because after 15-20 minutes, I thought this could be a real tanking, but we kept in there and took that little opportunity when it came. Of course, we have a nightmare start to the second half. Armstrong gets in and scores a goal, and it's just a bit of a nothing ball down line, really. It's just a channel ball, but it highlights what we've been talking about with Wednesday. We've got to have people who's willing to get after stuff in channel and work them flanks, which is where I think we do miss Georgie Brown. Armstrong gets out there, he just uses experience, gives Dom a little bit of a shoulder and then spins in behind. Drives on into box. He's got that calm assurance. This is what I talk about. When you know chances are going to come, you can be relaxed about it. When you're not sure you're going to get chances in the game, you flash at them a bit. He's still got work to do, but then he cuts inside onto what you think is going to be a left-footed strike, but he cuts inside, and then it's a wonderful finish with outside of his right boot. Just sort of takes it away from keeper, and it comes back in off post. But, you know, again, an experienced championship goal scorer. You know, he's a former England under-21. He's a £15 million striker, and that is the quality that you get. And that's game dead and buried. When, you know, the 3-1 to them, and could have been more, you know. They sort of took the foot off the gas after that little bit, which they could afford to. And I would say actually in the second half, after that goal, I would say probably Wednesday edged the possession a little bit without having that sort of final ball. I thought we did look a bit better going forward. Like I said, without that final ball, I thought some of the link play were better than we've seen so far this season. But it's a huge ask. With the international break coming up, there was no point anybody doing anything stupid in this game, you know. And we all know the fixture that we've got after the international break. So, just disappointing to lose. The manner of the goals, the players will be disappointed. But the manner of the goals, because they're professionals and they'll know that there's things in there that they could have done better. It could have been a cricket score. It could have. They controlled the ball in the key moments of the game in the attacking third. But I'm not, you know, I'm not going to tear out off them for that performance today. I'm not, because sometimes you come up against an opposition that's just markedly better than you are. And that's what's happened today. And I know I've seen one or two people having meltdowns, and I've seen one or two things on Twitter, and, you know, like you do, I've had phone out, and I'm like, that fucker's having it. But as an old gaffer of mine once said, don't argue with morons, they drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. And I've seen certain players getting a slating. We've got the thinnest squad. The thinnest squad. There's players in that back three that have played 90 minutes every game of this season. They've not had one single breather. We've got the squad that we've got. The manager can't bring anybody in. I've seen some ridiculous comments today. You know, why is he starting him up top? He's a third division player. Well, who do you want him to start up top instead? The striker that's not scored in 40 odd games? Who do you want him to put in? Well, we've got Mo Salah sat on bench. Why is he not fucking starting? Who do you want him to start? I said I weren't going to nibble, didn't I? I said I weren't going to have it. I've done really well to resist having a nibble at some people today, but they're a quality side with nearly £50 million worth of attacking talent, and they've undone us, you know, by 3-1. There's no shame in that. If anything, the fact that that game wasn't a cricket score is testament to the effort and commitment that them lads are putting in, and the efforts that the manager's getting out of them. I will not have a pop at them for that performance today at all. Disappointing elements, goals, yes there were. Avoidable, yeah, probably avoidable. But you're talking about knackered players who ain't cost us 10 bob, having to give everything every single week against quality opposition. You know, there's people say, oh, it's an easy championship this year. It probably isn't an easiest championship this year, you know. It's probably not as strong as it's been in previous years, but, you know, Southampton's probably a great example. Look at the talent they've got and look where they are in the table. Nothing's a given. And when you're coming up against quality sides like this, you're going to come unstuck. But I'm not going to have a go at them for that, because they've given it everything, as they've given it everything against West Brom, as they've given it everything against Norwich City. And I'll come back to it. You can only piss with the cock you've got. They're giving everything they can. Everything that's in there, they're giving it. So I'm not going to... I don't know, I've got myself wound up. But yeah, a defeat, 3-1. Could have been worse. But it wasn't, because of the effort, because of the commitment, because people are winning headers and tackles and giving their absolute best. And we're now going to an international break, which these players thoroughly need, because he's not been able to make changes. I mean, look at Palmer, how old's he in there? 34, 35-year-old, like 90 minutes every single week. Bannon the same, playing with his knee strapped up, in the head every single week, giving it absolutely everything. I'm not going to slag any of them off. So we've got an international break now, but hopefully they can just get their feet up, because they need it. They need a rest. And there's been a little bit of talk, I don't know whether it's true or not, that the administrators have been talking to the AFL to see about maybe getting in 1 or 2 free transfers to bolster the squad, because these players are looking fatigued, but they're still giving it everything. It's easy to, when you're knackered, when things aren't going your way, when you're bottom at table on minus points and you've got defeats piling up, it's easy to feel sorry for yourself, but they're not. Even though they are knackered, they're still going out there and giving everything they've got. So hopefully maybe the administrators can work with AFL. Maybe we can get a couple of, free transfers in, or I don't know, maybe even another couple of little loan signings in there to bolster us. Now, are those loan signings going to come in and suddenly help us turn it round and start winning games and scoring goals for fun? No, they're not. But what they will do is allow some of these players to have a breather now and again and recuperate. Because at the minute, they're knackered. And they're going to start picking up these strains. As I said, there's already 1 or 2 patched up. I've seen Jan Valery today has been playing with those big thick undershorts on down to the knee, to look after hamstrings. Bannon's got strapping around his leg. The AFL talks about being competitive. To be competitive, you've got to have a squad. We haven't really got a squad, I've seen folks having a go at Henrik today. Who do you want him to put in? Well, once game's gone, you may as well stick some of them kids in. Really? Aye, alright. Stick a load of inexperienced kids in. There's already a few in there. But stick all lot in, Under 18s have got done today by 5-0, and we're wanting to stick more and more kids into the first team against a team that's just come down from the Premier League with £15 million worth of attacking talent. That'll do them good in the development, won't it, being at the end of that? Sorry. I started off this quite positive. But yeah, folks have been winding me up today. But no. Pleased with the lads' efforts. Disappointing result, but not an unexpected one. I weren't expecting us to go to Southampton and get a win. And if you were thinking we're going to go there and get a win, do you want to sign up to my new bookmaking app? Because I'll have a bit of that every day a week. Jesus. I'll leave it there because I'm getting mardy and nobody needs that.